What's up, everyone? My name's Kendrick. This is episode 3 of Spro and Go. Let's jump straight into the coffee. So this week I had an Ethiopian provided by Civil Coffee in Los Angeles, California. It is Ethiopian Nano Chala, and it's named after a very famous washing station. We'll kind of get more into coffee processing in further or future videos. Today, we'll just keep it pretty simple. So I did brew it as an espresso, and this coffee is probably my favorite coffee of this calendar year. It's so good as an everyday drink, whether it's brewed as a pour over, batch brew, or espresso. Super dynamic, really juicy, and very vibrant. The notes that I got, man, a lot of like beautiful stone fruit. It is a little bit more on that fruit forward, citrusy side, so if that's not your jam, I would still say give it a try because it has like really nice balance. It's not super acidic, but here were my stats for my espresso, my recipe. So I dosed 18.5 grams in, the brew took 32 seconds, and the output was 28 grams out. And kind of as a heads up, this coffee, it is developed a little bit more, so not dark. It is still technically a lighter roast, but in its development, it's pushed a little bit further than most light roast coffees, so it works really well as a ristretto. And a ristretto is a style of espresso that's a little bit more compact and condensed, so it's all about ratios. So this one, 18 grams in, only about 28 grams out. Typically at a lot of like specialty coffee shops, a lot of roasters who roast a little bit lighter, you'll see a little bit of a longer pool. So you might see a recipe like 18 grams in and then 36 or 40 grams out. So still super good, really dynamic. It is, in my opinion, when it comes to espresso theory and extraction, I do believe that your roast profile should define the style of espresso that you make. And again, that'll be a future video. But for now, just want to talk more about this beautiful Ethiopian coffee. I got a lot of like peach notes coming through and a lot of like nice citrus zest, and the finish was like a jasmine tea. So nice and delicate, super juicy, super tasty. I could drink this espresso every day, and I actually do drink it pretty much every day. I also made a cappuccino out of it, and you kind of lose out a little bit on those fruit notes and a lot of those tea-like notes, and it's replaced with just like with a lot of like brown sugar sweetness. It almost just tastes like Haagen-Dazs like coffee ice cream, so it's really delicious. Probably my favorite ice cream growing up as a kid, which I guess was like the prophecy of my life. I liked coffee ice cream as a kid. Now I'm working in coffee. Who would have thought? So I do focus a lot on latte art as well, and I love latte art. I love pouring latte art. I love serving coffee with beautiful latte art, and a lot of it is because of the hard work that goes into it. And a lot of times when people see the latte art in their coffee, they think you're just some sort of like wizard or magician. So it's a really awesome um, experience with that. And I do believe that we always consume with our eyes even before we get to like taste something. So if something looks beautiful, it kind of sets up those expectations that it's probably going to taste really good. So I would say that for the most part with latte art, I am more self-taught. I watched a lot of videos, but no one ever walked me through like this is how you pour latte art. So unfortunately, when I first started in coffee, it was just a lot of trial and error and a lot of practice at home and a lot of milk and coffee just being wasted. Sometimes like when you're trying to pursue something, it just takes a lot of trial and error and it takes a lot of reps. So with latte art, is it necessary in a cup of coffee, in a cappuccino, in a latte? No, it's not. But at the same time, when you see really good latte art, it is a indicator that the milk texture is spot on. Because if you steam your milk and as you incorporate and create a microfoam, if there's too much foam, it won't emulsify properly with your espresso. And if it's very foamy, also known as a if it's dry, then you'll get this really thick, light layer of foam. It's very airy, so light in weight. And then at the bottom that will be espresso, so it doesn't mix very well. And a lot of times when you're drinking that, you'll just like taste foam, and then it'll just be like washed down with espresso. When it's textured properly, in my opinion, and if you create a really beautiful silky microfoam, then it mixes really well with the espresso and it creates a more beautiful product. So latte art does indicate if your milk texture is good. And I just love the artistry of it, you know? I don't really consider myself a creative person. I feel like I'm very technical in everything that I do. And I understand that with art in different like fields, it takes a lot of like discipline and the understanding of the technicalities of the whole art to be able to then become more creative and have your own personal spin. So latte art in turn allows me to demonstrate my creativity and my artistry. So that's like another reason why I love it. And it's always a challenge. You know, there's some days where I will knock down a pour and it's like exactly what I wanted. And then the next day it's just a little bit off. And it's those little details in my mind that separate like good latte art, great latte art. And then, yes, there are latte art competitions and there's like latte art champions, and their attention to detail is at a different level than mine. And that's why they win all these awards. So I love latte art. You're gonna see a lot more latte art videos, and in a future video I'll kind of do like a little breakdown and a walkthrough of that. So I did get super caffeinated, and it did give me enough caffeine and energy for my workout. This workout that I did is a little bit different. So this week is considered like my rest week. So it's gonna be a lot more like run focused, and then just one strength training day. And this strength training day is focused a lot more on dynamic movements and mobility. And I'll do a full breakdown of my typical like strength training regimen in 2 videos from now, so in a future video. But for this one, I just wanted to focus more on these dynamic movements. So I wasn't doing any deadlifting and nothing like really heavy. I did still have to throw in some pull-ups because that's my bread and butter. But with this mobility workout, there's a lot more like kettlebell inspired movements. I don't actually own a kettlebell, so I just use a free weight, and it allows me to do like these, like a really nice flow, and you'll see that it's like a flow between like swings, between reverse lunges, and also bent over rows, and like a thruster. Thruster is kind of like a slight squat into a shoulder press. So what I really like about it is that, one, it incorporates strength, it incorporates a lot of balance because of like these different dynamic movements, and in the end it feels like a cardio workout. You're just like going from one movement to the other without stopping, and it can be a burner. So check out like the movements, try it out, let me know what you think, and I hope you enjoy that workout, because for me it's a really nice break from my normal like regimen and routine, and it allows me to kind of focus more on, to me it's a little bit more fun because it's not just like up and down movements. It's not like just like doing push-ups, or it's not just doing deadlifts. So yeah, it's just really fun, and I don't get to do this workout very often because it is normally during my rest week. So I'll do it like once a month. So it is a nice, like almost like reset for my workout and training. But again, I always have to throw in the pull-ups, and I love pull-ups. You know, I talked about it in my first video. I love them because it really demonstrates, to me, it defines like strength, and it defines just progress. And you know, for me personally, it was like this really long journey of like being able to get into pull-ups, because you know, in high school and in my early years of college, like I couldn't even do one pull-up. And you know, I think some of us have that experience in high school or junior high where we're in PE class. We have to do the PE like test or assessment, and then you have to do a pull-up. And you know, there's like a handful of people that can, and I was in that group that couldn't do one. And it's like, great, like that kind of sucks. That's kind of embarrassing. So I never really felt like inspired to do pull-ups when I was in high school, because all I cared about was basketball, and I never was thinking like, oh yeah, pull-ups are gonna help me become a better basketball player. Like no one really thought that, like on my team. So we didn't do them. We actually didn't do a lot of strength training, you know, in my basketball team. We weren't very good, but that's not the point. Maybe if we did a little bit more strength training, we would have been a little bit better, at least stronger. But anyways, yeah, how did I get into pull-ups? You know, it wasn't until like later on in college where I was pretty overweight and I wanted to get healthier. So I just remembered like, all right, pull-ups, that's gonna be like one of the defining like exercises that's gonna tell me that I'm on the right path to getting healthier and stronger. So I would run around my apartment, and there was like this park that was close to my apartment, and they had all sorts of like different like workout things. They had like this walking balance beam, they had these bars that you can climb up vertically, that you can climb over, and then they had pull-up bars. So I would probably run past this park 3 times a week, and I would try to do a pull-up. And the very first time, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go for it. And I jump up to the bar, and I'm like, all right, like let's do this. Like I got this. And I couldn't even move. I didn't even budge vertically. And I got down, and then I was like, man, that kind of sucked, but I'm gonna just try it every single day. So then I went back the next time, still same outcome, you know, couldn't even get up an inch. And I just kept on trying, and it wasn't until like maybe 3 weeks or a month later where I was able to get this far. And I was so stoked. I was so happy. I made it halfway to my goal of doing one pull-up. And I think that's what we have to remind ourselves with. That fitness and health, it's this journey that's peppered with these goals. And some of these goals are large, some of these goals are smaller, and we just need to take into account that it is a journey, and we're not going to get from like point A to like point Z just like that. I think the reason why I was so stoked and so excited was because in my mind, all I could think about was I just have to go a halfway more, and then I achieved my goal. And, you know, I have a lot of friends that ask me like, how do I get into pull-ups? Like, how do I do a lot of pull-ups? And the reality of it is you just try. Little by little, you are taking those steps, and you're gonna eventually get to where you want to be. And that's awesome. And that's something to be excited about. That's something to be proud of. And now I'm able to like do weighted pull-ups, you know? With the weight vest that I'm using, it is a 40-pound weight vest, and it's not easy. It's still a challenge, but again, it's all about like setting up these little challenges and setting up these little goals for us to like continue on with our journey. You know what? That's what it's all about. It's all about like us being able to encourage each other and to support each other, whether it's through a YouTube video, through actual conversations, or working out with our buddies, you know? So I'm excited to be able to post up more content about my goals, and I'm excited to hear about your stories as well. So hit me up in the comments. Let me know. Are pull-ups your thing? Do you want them to be your thing? And what's your max rep? I'll catch you all later.